In today's video, I'm going to talk about my top 10 foundation recommendations for drugstore brands. Hey everyone, this is Lisa. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Lisa Monique Beauty, where we cover all things beauty and lifestyle for the over 50 woman. So these are my top 10 drugstore foundation recommendations for 2022. These are not foundations that just came out in 2022. These are the foundations that this year I have recommended to either viewers like yourself, my friends, family, anyone that asks me what foundation should they use and they are preferring drugstore brands. These are the ones that I would recommend depending on their skin type and the type of coverage that they are looking for. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the first category are my lightweight foundations or tinted moisturizers. And I have a couple that I recommend. The first is the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. This is a very, very lightweight tinted moisturizer, and it just adds a little bit of color, so it kind of smooths out discoloration within the skin. It's very inexpensive, I think around $6, but I do really enjoy it, how it feels on the skin. I didn't like it at first because I couldn't find a good color match. So the one negative would be, I think they only have 8 to 10 shades and they are limited. So you would have to make sure you could find a shade that works with you. But if you're just trying things out, this is a really, really great lightweight tinted moisturizer. The next one I recommend, and I tell people I personally don't love this tinted moisturizer, but so many people do that I'm going to put it on the list because maybe I just don't like the way the coverage it provides on my skin, which is not enough because I have the hyperpigmentation. And this is the L'Oreal True Matte Nude Serum Foundation. So it's a hyaluronic tinted serum. This is so many people's favorite foundation. I mean, it was like this holy grail for so many. Again, not my favorite, but if someone's really looking for something super lightweight and they don't have a lot of discoloration on their face that they're trying to cover up, I will suggest this one. The next one I think is one of those dupe foundations for some of the more higher end foundations. And this is the L'Oreal Age Perfect Radiant Serum Foundation. This one does come in a lot more shades, so it doesn't have it's only in a few shade complaint about it. It also is lightweight, but I think it does provide a little bit more coverage. It does even out my skin tone. Right now I have two colors here, the 70 and the 120. I do mix them as it goes throughout the season. The 70, probably, it might be a little bit light for me now. Right in the middle of winter, it would be a good shade for me. And I don't even know if I ever get this tan, but in the summer, my face does get a lot of color, or even not always in the summer, in the spring and fall when I'm out walking outdoors. And so sometimes just a little mix of these two works great. It does have an SPF of 50, so it is a great sunscreen or a great tinted moisturizer or foundation to put on top as, you know, kind of your last step, or if you're not going to wear anything else and you know you're going to be outdoors, you do get the SPF 50. Of course, in order to get the appropriate SPF, you do have to put it on fairly heavy. A really thin sheer film of the foundation isn't necessarily going to provide you an SPF 50. If you're actually going to the beach, you know, you might want to be using regular sunscreen, a stronger sunscreen, putting it on heavier. But if you're just layering your foundation with other products that might also contain SPF, then this is a pretty heavy duty one to add on top. For me, it does have more of that SPF feel, that more tackiness, or like I put sunscreen on my face feeling. So I usually only use it when I think I'm going to be doing a lot of outdoor running around. Okay, the next category is really my favorite category. It's that medium coverage, light to medium coverage foundation, very skin-like, but still covers up my hyperpigmentation. Not 100%, it doesn't make my face look flat, but it also has really natural finish. So these are my favorite foundations to recommend. The first is a newer one that I had discovered within the last year. It's the Essence Pretty Natural. I'm in 110 Cool Beige. This one is, I'm not sure if it's only sold at Ulta, but that's where I find it so that I can actually shade test and everything like that. Another inexpensive foundation. I feel it works best when applied with a damp sponge to kind of blend in versus using just my fingers where I feel like I might get it a little bit too heavy. But it is very beautiful, very inexpensive. Another super inexpensive, and this is like way up there on the top of my favorite foundations, it's the NYX Born to Glow. One of my viewers recommended this, Chanel. She kept saying, this is the one she uses, this is the one she uses. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it. And I do absolutely love it. My shade is medium olive right here. And it is beautiful, lightweight, has a slight glow. It's not shiny, but it is a radiant, that's the word. It is a more radiant finish, which I love. And then if you watch any of my videos, this really is my #1 recommended drugstore foundation to people. It is the L'Oreal True Match, the one in a bottle. Their super blendable foundation. This one, it does have a sunscreen. I never really use it for sunscreen. I think, what is it? SPF 17. My shade is W6. It's also W4. It's a little bit light, but that used to be my normal shade that I use. It is so beautiful on, and it stays on a really long time. Way back before I had my YouTube channel, like 10, 15 years ago when I was wearing this, and I would get a drop on my bathroom counter, and I'm trying to wipe it off, and it's kind of just smearing, and you have to use a little bit of soap to get it off. I was like, okay, if you can't wipe it off a slick surface, it is staying on your skin. And I do feel this is a really great long-wearing medium coverage foundation, light to medium. It is very skin-like on. It doesn't look heavy or cakey. I do love that. The next foundation in that mid coverage range is the Wet n Wild, the PhotoFocus. I have both the Dewy and just the regular foundations. I don't find a huge difference between the two formulations. I do have them in 2 different shades. I have the Desert Beige, which is just slightly too dark for me right now, and that's in the regular. And then I have the Dewy one in Golden Beige, which is a little bit too light. So I have been mixing them, and again, with the finishes, the differences are so subtle, I don't really notice a huge difference on me. But these are such great, inexpensive foundations, and they have that beautiful medium coverage, but they're like $5 or $6 maybe. And I recommend these all the time. So in fact, it's up there with the L'Oreal True Match. If I want to give them options, I will say True Match, or the Wet n Wild are really my absolutely most recommended drugstore foundations. Another one that I have found, I feel this coverage is very similar to the Born to Glow, is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. So this one doesn't have as many shades to me. I actually never counted them, but when I get into my shade range, I feel like it's neither. I have the 208 and 209. I feel like neither is the exact match, but good enough, close enough. I really do love the way this goes on. Again, it's a medium coverage. It's kind of that radiant finish. Got an air light texture, medium coverage, 24-hour wear, radiant finish. Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. So that's what it advertises, is definitely what it does, and it is really, really nice. And I don't know if you've noticed, out of these recommendations that I've been giving so far, I've had 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are L'Oreal. I really feel like L'Oreal has done a great, great job with their foundations that rival my higher end foundations. Now the next category will be for the more full coverage, so medium to full coverage. Definitely what I would consider all day wear. There are some other foundations in this category that I do recommend, but these are the ones I recommend the most. And they are the Maybelline Fit Me foundation. They have so many shades in this Fit Me foundation. Now this is the Dewy and Smooth. I also have just their regular, their matte poreless one. Sometimes I mix the two just because the matte one is a lighter shade and this is a very dark shade. But because they are so inexpensive and they have so many shades and undertones, I feel like it's cheap enough that you can buy a couple of shades and custom match your perfect one if you need to. This gives beautiful coverage, lasts all day. For those that say they have an oily T-zone, this is the one I recommend to them. Not because it's drying on me, but because other influencers that say they have that oily skin, like Stephanie Marie and Risa from Risa Does Makeup, they have recommended the Fit Me foundation also, saying how well it works with their more oily skin. So I really trust their reviews. So if they say it's good on oily skin, it really works well on their oily skin, I would recommend it to my friends with oily skin. The other one that I really think is super long wearing, very skin-like, but a more full coverage, is the L'Oreal Infallible Freshwear. Also just based on the finish, this does have an SPF of 25. I feel like it would work better for combination skin. I actually have not, researched it to see if it's one of those recommended, but from the influencers that have the oily combination skin. But I just feel the way it sits on my skin that it would also work better. It's very, very lightweight, very beautiful, full coverage. Rivals my, Estee Lauder Double Wear, which is really my gold standard for long wearing foundation. And I really think it does a great job. So that's it. Those are my 10 most recommended foundations for 2022. Stay tuned for my 10 most recommended high-end foundations coming up. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.